On the news this evening, lawyer Higher King backs Rivers Assembly's plan probe former administrator. Stakeholders differ on Bright Amehule's criticism of Governor. Senator Ndume warns against another round of political crisis in Rivers State. Senator Natasha resumes duties. And on the foreign scene, U.S. President criticizes UK, France, others for recognizing Palestinian state. I'm Sam Chinedu, and the news continues after the break. Human rights lawyer Mr. Higher King says it is not correct to suggest that probing the former sole administrator of Rivers State, retired Vice Admiral Bokete Ibas, amounts to probing the president of the National Assembly. Speaking with correspondent Onyeka Chinwosu, Mr. Higher King explained that the Rivers State House of Assembly and the governor have the legal right to demand an account of how the state's funds were spent.
I am aware that the sole administrator prepared a handover note, which legally he is mandated to do. You must tell us how much you got and how much you spent on capital expenditure, recurrent expenditure, and all that. So saying that it amounts to proving the president is not an excuse. Of course, the House of Assembly can call it to come and explain, whether you call it probe, you call it check, whatever name you call it. The governor can call him. No, I don't understand these figures. Come and explain to us. He has the legal obligation.
He further argued that even the president and the National Assembly are not above investigation.
Even the president, we ask him questions. Every year, the president does his expenditure. That is what we call budget. So if the president is accountable, why wouldn't a so-called sole administrator be accountable? He is accountable.
On the confirmation of the head of service by the former sole administrator, late at night, the lawyer maintained that such an action would amount to a nullity if it was carried out past midnight of September 17, 2025.
If the swearing in extends beyond a minute outside 12 a.m. of 18th of March, definitely it is of no moment. There is no way that appointment will stand because that appointment extends to, he has extended his bounds. Well, again, I leave it at the hand of the governor. It is the governor that will take that decision whether to rescind that appointment, because why would you do it at the last moment when you are leaving office?
Recall that the sole administrator, through his media aide Hector Igbeke-Oubo, had in a statement said the plan by the Rivers State House of Assembly to probe his 6 months in office is tantamount to probing the president and the National Assembly. Moving on, President General of the Initiative for Transparent Strategy and Good Leadership, Chizi Enyi, has hit back at those criticizing the reception organized at the Port Harcourt Airport and the Government House to welcome Governor Siminalayi Fubara back to office. Recall that yesterday, a former caretaker chairman of Obiakpo local government area, Bright Amehule, said the governor should not have allowed the reception to hold and wondered why such reception was not held for members of the state lawmakers. But speaking on Nigeria Info FM's Morning Crossfire, Mr. Enyi said the reception for Governor Fubara's return is not politically motivated. Enyi urged critics of the gesture to move forward in the interest of peace and good governance in the state.
Mr. President, that I'm back, I also resumed my responsibility as the Rivers State. It's not.
Some residents of Port Harcourt also reacted to the reception by supporters of the governor.
Governor is good to people, and he understands servants, and he did very well. So, talking about governor, is anything they ask him, use something for him.
That's nobody's business unless they are going at law. Just like it, we don't issue up.
Governor Siminalayi Fubara and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike gave the advice correspondents to Ibiruwari were reacting to comments credited to Bright Amehule about the crowd that welcomed Governor Fubara at the Port Harcourt International Airport. The peace advocate said what stakeholders need now is collective collaboration and with the governor to move the state to the next stage of development. On his part, a 2019 governorship candidate in Rivers State, Waribani Ezekiel, said it is time for Rivers people to allow peace to reign so the governor can execute and consolidate his development plans. For added that Rivers people have keyed into newfound peace and stakeholder just otherwise. Also, the representing Borno South Senator Ndume called on the executive arms of government in Rivers together in the interest of the people. Ndume made the call in an interview with correspondent on the sidelines of the ongoing 5th parliamentary session and explained why Rivers State must not be allowed round of political crisis. Meanwhile, an agricultural consultant called on Rivers State Governor Siminalayi to come initiated in the agricultural sector suspension. Mr. Okoro made the call with our correspondent. He called on the governor to resist the temptation of politicizing agriculture.
Said agriculture is not APC issue or PDP issue that synergy to loyalty. Agriculture goes with integrity. So governors should use technocrats, professionals, and banks that understand what agri-financing is all about. It's not sacrifice banks that are interested in the revenue they will generate, boost their balance sheets. We should be talking of banks that have passion to make benefiting, they are also benefiting. And agriculture with single digits.
He also reacted to plans by a private investor to set up a cassava processing plant, describing it as a wake-up call to the
a vision which they started since Amechi administration. Now there is no tangible something. Then an individual came up and tapped into that global of and that the tendency.
back. A state high court in Port Harcourt has fixed October 15, 2025 a motion bill by force trial for the alleged attempted murder of the leader of the conscience of the Ogoni people, Chief Gani Toba. When the motion was mentioned, the trial judge, Justice Augusta Kingsley Chukwu, drew the attention of the Prosecution State Ministry of Justice, Precious Odu, and other defense counsels letter of adjournment. Counsel prefers defendant or bail for the other three accused persons ready. But Justice Kingsley Chukwu denied, saying the court could not ignore requests from a defense counsel who had cited urgency but was absent in court. Recall that the fourth suspect, Xavier Roberts, also known Leso Pugiseka Dele as Bob Satan, and at large are facing 7-count charges bordering on conspiracy, attempted murder, cultism, possession of illegal firearms, amongst others. Alleged to have on March 23 on his way from his committee in Kanako shot him multiple times, leaving him. The youth chairman Tutua community in Imogo government area of River State, Brett Aliko, has refuted claims by members of one Onya family Rikpi Isiobo on their land along the Omagwa Ele. Speaking in an interview with our current, Mr. Aliko dismissed the allegations maintained that the Omo Atutua community owners of the disputed land was judgment from a customary court in Isiobo. He called on the public to districts made by the Onya family.
The land they are working is called Amototua, and we have a consent judgment in the land. We go to court. The common court, ICC number 5, 2024. So the matter, that is why we went to use, I don't know what to call land grab, but they are a contractor, and they are working their land.
Abuja on Tuesday. At the event held at the Nigerian Law School in Abuja's office, clerk to the National Assembly, Kamoru Ogunlana, later confirmed the plenary had been postponed to October 7, 2025. Meanwhile, security operatives on Tuesday dispersed supporters of Senator Natasha who accompanied her to the National Assembly. The federal lawmaker arrived with a large crowd of supporters, but was in the process security from 27.5% in July to 27%. This followed the decision of the committee during its meeting held on 23rd, 2025, that of merchant banks at 16%. In sports, the embellishers of the coup Wazobia Info.
You have team performance and achievement. You have class and fair play. If we are going to be true to ourselves.
That is a spectacular season. The French Lincoln and the other British club and recent winning on all fronts.
Yeah, I think on the overall balance, Dembele deserved the Ballon d'Or he won.
Gang later this evening from 7 p.m. for more discussions on this. The news continues after the break. On the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has reiterated that recognizing a Palestinian state would be a reward for the terrible atrocities Hamas has committed. President Trump said this in his address at the UN General Assembly. He asks Hamas to release the hostages. Trump also described as embarrassing Europe's failure to cut off Russian energy products as the war in Ukraine rages on. He said it is time to end the failed experiment of open borders. As he accuses the UN of facilitating an invasion of Western countries, the US president describes climate change as the greatest con job ever, as he claims UN predictions were wrong. And that's the news, but here are the headlines. Once again, we told you that a lawyer, Haya King, has backed plans by the River State House of Assembly to probe former administrator Ibas. You heard the stakeholders have reacted to Bright Amehule's criticism of Governor Fubara's reception. We told you that Senator Ali Ndume has warned against another round of political crisis in Rivers State. We reported that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan has resumed duties hours after her office was opened by the Senate. On the foreign scene, U.S. President has criticized the UK, France, and others for recognizing Palestinian state. The news was edited by Onyeka Chiwonsu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I'm Sam Chinedu. Thanks for listening.